All right, let's come to your area of expertise, which is finance and the economy. I want you to take a big picture. We can discuss Tamil Nadu and its finances and its economy some other time. This pandemic and a series of lockdowns is going to ravage this country's economy in a way that we aren't going to understand till this is all over. We had an initial report from Mahesh Vyas of the CMIE saying 97% of Indians are poorer than they were before the pandemic. He's also been documenting of how millions of Indians, salaried Indians, have lost their jobs. Uh, I don't know if the economy is getting the attention that it should, unlike countries like the United States, where the fiscal fix was almost an accompaniment to the pandemic. So I just want to spend the last 2-3 minutes that we have with you just talking about the economy a bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't find the CMI report unexpected. It's alarming, it's disheartening, but it's not unexpected. You have to decide what your priorities are. The good identity of a politician is that you start with values and you start with a philosophy, and then you implement all your schemes and your plans and your economic models and your budgets and your subsidies and everything in line with that. So in Tamil Nadu, my chief minister has been saying, and I have been echoing, that our greatest concern about the pandemic, Tamil Nadu is a relatively wealthy state. Tamil Nadu is relatively unscathed escape from this. Tamil Nadu is relatively well positioned to bounce back. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning, you should read it. How the US is bouncing back like never before because this was a disruption of natural economic activity as opposed to a financial crisis or economic crisis. So, depending on the situation you were in when the crisis started, will of course determine a lot of what happens when you get out. But it also varies a lot state to state. So, in my state, my leader has been very clear that our job is inclusive growth. Our job is to reduce the kind of disparity, to reduce the Gini coefficient and take everybody along. So, we have focused our efforts a lot. Much of the money, 80% of the spending, is on the lowest, weakest segments of society, the ignorant workers, the unorganized sector, the stay-at-home mothers, and house leaders. And that's where we feel we need to bring the demand back up. We have a demand problem across the country, which is the first time, and this was before COVID. Before COVID, we had a demand problem. I don't want to get into why, because then people accuse me of politics. But factually, we had a demand problem, which was a unique outcome. So in that demand problem, we already should have been focused on trying to bring, because the more tax cuts you give, the more, no factory owner is going to build a new factory when the old factory is running at 60% utilization. No services company is going to integrate office space when they don't have enough workers to fill not enough work to fill the current workspace they have with full-time employees. So our economic philosophy matches our social philosophy of inclusive growth, opportunities for all, and to keep the bottom of the pyramid as high up as possible. The top will take care of itself. That's how human nature is. And so I would say it is dramatically opposite to the government of India's philosophy and actions as envisioned by its tax policies and policies over the last, let's say, 7 years. The government of India has greatly increased the ratio of both cesses and indirect taxes, which are inherently regressive in its total income, and has greatly reduced the ratio of direct taxes, which are progressive and divisible pool taxes. This is, your actions tell us your philosophy. Your words don't mean that much. Your actions and the outcome of your actions will tell us what your true intent is, because we don't think you're doing it accidentally, right? So the outcome is very clear, that this government has been the exact opposite economic philosophy of what we in the DMK and in Tamil Nadu for the bulk of the last 70 years, excluding maybe the last 4, have done.
I have to ask you one question related to the pandemic. The center, or the BJP in particular, keeps targeting Tamil Nadu for vaccine hesitancy and vaccine wastage. How do you respond to that charge that often comes from the BJP and its supporters?
Yeah, listen, I don't know what happened when we were not in government. There was never a question of hesitancy. I think we are the land of rationalism. We have the greatest education levels. Average education is high school graduate. 40% gross enrollment ratio into higher education of all college-going kids, college-eligible age kids. So I believe there was vaccine hesitancy. it is a possibility that there was wastage because of mishandling, because of previous regimes, administrative focus or elections or whatever. I can guarantee you today we were 0 doses yesterday. Last night we got 17,000 doses for the district of Madurai. I can guarantee you that either by tonight or tomorrow morning we will have used up all of them, because we have 74 or 76 centers where we are vaccinating, and whoever shows up gets, and we prioritize, temple priests today, starters, crematorium workers, of course we already started doctors, nurses, etc. So in Tamil, I assume that Madurai is an example, and my leader spoke in Coimbatore yesterday and said the second highest allocation of vaccines across the Tamil Nadu after Chennai district was Coimbatore district. So I assume that we are using up our vaccines as rapidly as we can get them. And what happened before my government came to power, I neither have the data nor do I want to kind of venture or hazard a guess as to why or what. I just want to make the point that our government has been in office for less than a month, right? We were sworn in on the 7th. The swearing in only happened on the 11th. The speaker was elected on the 12th. So really, we have been in the field as fully constitutional, legitimate MLAs and ministers only from the 12th of May till today. So I think, asking me to comment about anything before that is not a fit question. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair enough.